and welcome to Inside Edition to discuss national, regional, and international issues in depth. With the aim of enabling the financial sector in the Kingdom of Bahrain to forge strong and lasting connections with their customers from across a wide geographical base, Bahrain's electronic network for financial transactions, Benefit, has been the key conduit for all electronic financial transactions throughout the kingdom since its establishment in November of 1997. To know more about Benefit's role and services, we are pleased to be joined here in the studio by Chief Executive of Benefit Company, Abdelwahid Janahi. Welcome back, dear viewers. With us in the studio is Mr. Abdelwahid Janahi, who is the Chief Executive of Benefit Pay. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you for Bahrain TV for hosting me and to give you some highlights on the Benefit Company.
Yes. So Benefit Company has been here for a while, and it has been such a normal thing in the society to use Benefit in different associations, whether it's individual payments or it's even through commercial registered companies and everything like that. What can you tell us, how would you say the company's vision and mission has evolved over all of these years since it's opened in 1997?
Yeah. So, wow, it's a bit quiet sometimes, and it started in 1997. In fact, towards the end of 1997. And the whole idea was, to add value to the banking community and to introduce the ATM switch, where you make it convenient, for the bank customer to withdraw the cash. And then we added the point of sale, again, as a switch. So for a couple of years or 3 years there and then, the focus was, on the card management services or in the card industries. And then as we move on, because of the technology, the vision every time, you have to look at it and you see what's the market needs and what's the customer needs. So we moved on, and the focus moved from the card industry services, to more focus on the transactions or the financial transactions, as well as provide the customer information and the business outsourcing. So that was, for a while, that was the 3 pillars for our own strategy, which basically, having those 3 pillars, we established a shared-based platform, to serve the financial and the non-financial. If you notice now, I started the banking community, and now we move on. So we moved on serving the non-financial services. And as we moved on, and in the last, I would say, decade or 10 years ago, then a lot of the financial technology developed, and then obviously you have to adapt, and you have to cope with the with the changes. Otherwise, you'll fall behind. So we worked a lot on the innovation solutions, and then we thought the previous strategy, fine, and it served us there for that time. But now, we have to see what's the new. So the 3 pillars reduced to 2 pillars, and that's the 2 pillars which basically focus on the benefit data and a benefit and benefit plus. And that's, I will elaborate more later on when we talk about the services. So that direction that we took is go according with the country direction, which is towards the digital economy, and to focus on cashless society, on the digital society, and keep on and to maintain or sustain the innovation services.
I mean, 23 years of Benefit being in service is a long time. Even if you think about the technology in those days, it was pretty new. So how did Benefit or the banks that Benefit started with, as per your website, 17 banks started off with Benefit Company at that time. How did they adapt to that technology when it was still at its fresh going?
Yeah. In fact, also you have a good information. In fact, it started as 17 banks. And again, there and then only 17 banks, by the way, in Bahrain, and all of them, they became shareholders. And now we have only 13 shareholders because of the acquisitions and mergers. So our owners only 13 banks, and mainly they are in Bahrain, commercial banks, Islamic banks, and international banks. So I'll go back, to the adding values to the to those banks, and not only to the banks as well as to their customers. So when we started the providing the ATM switch and point of sale switch as a start, then we noticed that there is a lot of requirements that we work on adding more services. So we introduced the business or Bahrain Credit Reference Bureau. Okay, that's a service that help the banks to make a better decision for granting loans and credit facilities. Because why I'm saying this, their decision will be based on facts and figures, and it's a very objective rather than the subjective. And then we added the payment gateway that helps the banks, for the online payment and online purchases. In fact, the payment gateway now, it's not only for the banks, but even for the private institutions, for the telcos, and any commercial institutions.
Yes.
Moving on, then we introduced the Bahrain check truncation system. Okay, and that's when I say Bahrain check truncation system, it's processing the checks in the same day.
Right.
So the checks used to be processed manually, which takes 2 to 3 days. And since we introduced the Bahrain check truncation system, it is processed in the same day. So let's say if you have a check and you deposit in the bank before 11:30, 12 o'clock, then the money in your account by 3 o'clock. I mean, we say that we moved from tier 2 or tier 3 to tier 1 or tier 0.
Exactly.
Okay, and moving on, then we have our own, or we established also the electronic fund transfer system.
Yes.
Now, it was like a big jump for us. That's mainly related to the, electronic money transfer and electronic purchases, on the when you go to the merchants. And the electronic fund transfer system, it consists of 3 services, okay, which is Fawry Plus for any amount that goes from up to 1,000 dinar, and we have Fawry, anything above 1,000 dinar. And by the way, Fawry Plus, the transactions, it happens instantly.
Yes.
So the average time it takes you like maybe, I would say 5 to 6 seconds.
Right.
So the money you can transfer from yourself to anybody else, so it's within seconds.
Exactly.
However, Fawry Plus, because the amount is bigger than 1,000 dinar, then you only have it twice a day.
Right.
And normally, it goes in the account the next day. And the other one, which is also very important, we call it Fawatir.
Yes.
Fawatir is the electronic bill payment presentment.
Right.
And this really fits the institutions, all institutions, whether they are schools, whether they're universities, merchants, even government institutions.
Right, right.
Okay? So that's all comes under the electronic fund transfer system. After that, we also, as we moved on, we introduced the electronic Know Your Customer, or the AKYC.
Okay.
And that's the service that, again, the idea is to help, the banks who give credits, or any financial institution who give credits, that they can get the information electronically. And this is, it was done in cooperation between the central bank and the benefit company, as well as the information and government authority.
Right.
So the information that the banks get, they get from the source. So it is the latest and it's a correct
Most
information.
updated.
Yeah. And lately, and for the last 2 years now, I'm sure you heard about Benefit Pay.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Now again, we at Benefit, we look at what the customer needs.
Yeah.
And we thought that it's very simple, Sarah. It's very simple. I mean, we have the platform, we have the services.
Right.
And we noticed that the people use their mobile in their hands.
Right.
Okay, that's even more than anything else.
Exactly.
They don't get, and they are wherever they are, they're with them. So we thought, okay, why we don't use the electronic fund transfer system and incorporate it with the mobile, because it make it so easy for the people to pay and to transfer the money.
Right.
Now, the beauty about the Benefit Pay is that you can transfer the money with your mobile number. I mean, with the mobile number. So that's why you find many people, they find it so easy.
Right.
So you just put the mobile number for anybody, for a person that you want to transfer, and then you transfer the money. So this is just to give you, on the nutshell, what sort of the major services that we do. We are, in fact, and I want to take the point to thank the central bank, because we work very closely with them. And most of the services, by the way, they are national services,
Yes.
national electronic services.
Right.
So, with their support and, with the support of our team, we manage, to make those services a success. And if you notice in my discussion that whatever service we introduce, it is related to make it easy and simple for the customer. It's not the idea that just you introduce the service. No, you introduce it to make the life easy. You add value to the institutions, to individuals, to the companies. So if you look at all services that we produce or we introduce, so they are meant to be, to make, the life easy, for the customer. And this is where we are aiming for the benefit pay. We want aiming to make it a lifestyle.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's very evident, especially like you were mentioning Fawatir. One of the literatures that was read, that people actually started paying their bills more on time because they had the automated pay service on Fawatir, and because they didn't have to go look for the SWIFT codes or any codes of these huge institutions, like for instance to pay their bills. It was just available immediately through Fawatir, and that really did benefit them when it came to time, and it was easier for them to pay their bills on time at that point.
Yeah.
Well, Benefit has been providing Bahraini community with these services that you have mentioned, but specifically when we come to benefit pay, it actually came at a time before the COVID-19 epidemic that we're going through right now. And it was so handy right now, especially that we're going into this time where cardless and cashless is really the most important thing in order to to stay more hygienic, to stay away from this virus. What can you tell us about how Benefit's initiative has helped in curbing the spread of COVID-19?
In fact, we are an organization just like anybody else in Bahrain. We followed the guidelines of the government and the concerned health institutions. There are certain measurement and precautions that we had to take.
Yes.
For example, immediately, that was almost now a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Immediately we split to 3 groups. I'm talking about the benefit staff. So some of us work from the office, and some work from the home, and the others work from our business continuity office there. Yeah. And from time to time, we try to make most of us work from home. So we do this exercise, as if that, that we are at home. So we did a practice that like over 75 or 80%, I would say 75% of the staff, we work from home. We, in fact, also, besides that, we took other measurement in terms of, to take care of our staff. We brought some nurses to take your temperature and, all these things that the normal, I think, procedures that I'm sure that, all the organization did. Now, but meanwhile, we also, we worked on, using the social media, and encouraging the people to go and use the electronic means for money transfer, for the purchases, using the QR, the contactless. So, and avoid using cash, because there are a lot of studies, and we hear a lot of news nowadays. This virus, it remains on the surface for a while.
Right.
So, and the cash is another, means that the virus might stay there for a while. So it's better for the individuals and for the companies, they use the electronic means. Now, because of the COVID-19, by the way, and I spoke about Fawatir, Sarah, you will be amazed that every day many merchants, they keep calling us that they want to be a member in this, and they want to receive their payment electronically rather than cash.
Yes.
So see the awareness and the society, it comes from both sides.
Absolutely. When we talk about awareness, the Instagram account of Benefit, as well as other social media aspects, we see a lot of awareness coming out from your marketing department. What are the most important parts of this awareness that you wanted to give people to make them understand?
Yeah. In fact, one of the things is that, to encourage the people, to go electronic.
Yeah.
and reduce the use of the of the cash. And the idea is that it's more convenient. It's going to save you. It's not only it's better, it's healthy, and it's going to save you time and save you cost. Okay, you can do everything while sitting at home. Nowadays, we hear a lot and we read a lot that it doesn't matter how many hours you're in the office. What matters is what you deliver in terms of productivity. So, and you can do it from home. And there are many examples and proof that happens not only in Bahrain but even around the world. So we're trying to encourage the people towards that, towards electronic means. Now all the shops now, many shops, they have their own. They place their products and services online, either through their portal or using other portals. And I think that's what we are aiming, to move towards the electronic means.
Yes. Well, Bahrain has always been known for its cohesion when it comes to the citizens, with the government, with the institutions, and even the merchants that are available. And one of the things that Benefit Company has always put a lot of emphasis on is this cohesion, the societal cohesion where the community comes together. We can see that in the social media awareness campaigns that you guys have done in the past. So my question here is, how important is a cohesion of a community, and especially a difficult time such as the one that we're passing through right now?
Yeah, I think we say reality is an example. And we noticed that in Bahrain and the society and the people of Bahrain, they are very, very aware, and they abide to the rules and instructions what's been given to the government. And we noticed this, around the country, and that's what happened. In fact, if I may talk about the Fina Khair, that what Sheikh Nasser, initiated, thanks to him, and that shows it's not a matter of the money.
Right.
I mean,
it's just being there.
Sheikh Nasser said the money, it is there, but just to show how the people are cohesive together, they are stick together, and we see today now almost 32 million dinars, and that happens. The people and the institutions, they really reacted immediately.
Right.
Okay, and that shows, how we care about Bahrain.
Right.
And I think Bahrain gave us a lot, and we have to give back a little bit of a return, and not to mention this time, of the because of the COVID-19. I think, our society in Bahrain, they approved, that, there's always stickness together, and we react very positively on helping each other.
Absolutely. Before I go to my next question, you mentioned that part of the company when it was initiated were international corporations or international units. This made it a lot easier for people in Bahrain to actually communicate with their banks or with any kind of financial institutions that they have outside of it. How do you value these cooperations internationally? Does it really help the standard of Benefit Company itself?
Yeah, in fact, we always we deal with international companies, and that help us a lot in terms of providing the services. And we, in fact, in Bahrain, we are always working towards. In fact, we are the regional, I would say the regional financial hub for the region.
Yes.
Okay, and we are also working a lot and striving to make it even the fintech hub, of the region. So the international companies, we as Benefit, we deal with them more or less in terms of they are our suppliers and our advisors.
Right.
And but having said that, Benefit Company, by the way, we had a number of initiatives where we wanted to link our switch with the international switch, but so far this didn't take place, and hopefully it will happen in the future. But on regional basis, we are part of the GCC net scheme.
Exactly.
Okay, and there are a number of services that we work together among our the GCC countries.
Yeah, the regional counterparts such as MEDA and all of the other ones.
Yeah.
Well, Benefit was actually awarded as the highest distinctive international finance award in 2019 as the fastest growing electronic payment solution. So we'd like to congratulate you, first of all, for this really remarkable achievement. As
Thank
you
you.
said, that Benefit and Bahrain itself are the financial hub of the region here. So what can you tell us about the efforts that were exerted that led to receiving this award?
In fact, this service, we got this this award, as the fastest solution or payment provider in Bahrain. It's that because the pace that we are in, it's definitely not like the 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And we used to introduce like maybe one product or one services or two services a year or so, or or a year and a half. But now the pace, changed because the technology is very dynamic and
It
keeps
is.
changing. So we keep introducing like 2-3 services, a year, and that's one of the things that shows the pace. It's not us, but as I said earlier, we have to cope with the things that keep advancing. And one of the things that we've been awarded this because of the innovation solutions, and although it is simple. It is, we mentioned about Benefit Pay.
Yeah.
And Benefit Pay, it's amazing in terms of the people who registered up to today. So we have around 340,000
Yes.
people who are registered on
And
Benefit
increasing
Pay.
probably.
And it keeps increasing.
Yeah.
It keeps increasing. So this is something that we've been awarded, and because of our achievement that we contributed in the financial sector.
Yes, perfect. I mean, when it comes to these solutions right now, Benefit has also foreseen things that are upcoming, even if it's not very visible. But as you said, maybe the future of fintech is in Bahrain because of companies such as Benefit. So what are the things that you see the company working towards within the next coming years or months?
You mean the next few?
Yeah.
There are a number of projects, and as I said, that we are working on a number of projects in parallel.
Yeah.
Now, one of them is that something called tokenization.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this tokenization meaning that we are aiming to make the mobile app that when you go and purchase, you don't have to enter a number, you don't have to send anything. It's just like tap and go.
Yeah.
And this is hopefully by end of April or beginning of May, we are aiming, to launch this service.
That's great.
Another service that we are working on is which is still, we just started, we call it the e-check. I mentioned about the Bahrain check truncation system. So we are upgrading now the checks to be electronic.
All right.
Okay, it's not only checks, but we also call it the e-instrument.
Okay.
And it's related to the digital signature.
Right.
So we're going to provide the PKI, public key infrastructure, and we provide it, and hopefully will be the provider of the certificate authority for digital signature.
Yeah.
So to encourage the people again, even to go paperless and to have all the documents get exchange between institutions, between people electronically.
Yeah.
With the digital signature.
Yeah.
Another service that I think many people are interested on, and that we are on the pilot as we speak.
Yeah.
It's the pay your petrol with your Benefit Pay.
Okay.
Okay. So if you go to the gas station, you are sitting in your car, and there is our app is linked to the app of the, let's say for Babco, for example, Babco application. And so if you're in the car and you just you are linked to one of the pumps, whatever your car is there. So you get your you fill in the tank of the car.
Yes.
Let's say you get 20 dinar,
Yeah.
and then you get a message while you're sitting in your car, like, okay, it's a 20 dinar. So you just say yes or no. It's a matter of a click.
Perfect.
So again, this is one of the things that you're going to avoid, exchange the cash
Exactly.
as well, and you're sitting in your car.
Exactly.
And also we have other services like we're enhancing our AKYC. Now we have our customers only banks, so we're going to include the money exchanger. We're going to include non-financial institutions very soon.
Actually, talking about the petrol application within Benefit, It's an interesting thing. Very recently, we had just an interview with a couple of students and their parents, students that come from outside of Bahrain and are currently studying here.
Yeah.
And the parents who are foreigners and do not live here, only their children live here to study in universities, actually use Benefit by opening a bank account, and they open the Benefit on their children's telephone, and they send money to it, and the child can only use, or the person can only use the Benefit to pay their things. And it was a way for them to control how much they are spending in and out. And that was really interesting when it came to the petrol, because that was another thing that they were saying that paying.
Just to add to what you said, Sarah, we received like a thank letter or a message, from parents who are stuck, outside Bahrain.
Yes.
And I hope that they are back, inshallah, safe and healthy. And they just sent a message thanking that, saying, I really thank God that I have Benefit Pay, because while I'm there, I'm transferring the money to my kids, and they can go and purchase. And so you made our life so simple. So that's the idea.
That's the idea.
That's the customer experience. The idea to help the people. Make their life easy.
Right. Yeah. And just to look at, when we come and look at statistics and how these programs and these applications basically further themselves, Benefit Pay or Benefit Company is safe, it is diverse, it is all over the country when it comes to virtual institutions, it's all over the country when it comes to actual headquarters and so on. Is Bahrain the perfect platform for studying the future of banking systems, especially with the CBB here and with companies such as Benefit and the banks that are available?
Yeah, I think perfectly. We're setting an example.
Yeah.
We are having, by the way, many services that the other international countries that they have. And not only that, and sometimes we have other services that still not been implemented in other countries.
Yeah.
And it's not only having the service, it has to be a service that it is trusted, a service that's efficient, a service that help the institutions to minimize their cost operation. I'll give you an example. I mentioned earlier that the Benefit Pay in terms of Fawry Plus, it's only seconds. By the way, there are countries, and I will not mention the name of the countries, there are countries who they speak about as an example.
Right.
They have this sort of application, and the transfer is in minutes.
Yes.
So we are even better in terms of the efficiencies and effectiveness.
Yes. How do you build or how do you test the security systems in place in Benefit?
Yeah, this is very important questions. And for the security and Benefit, it is a top priority, and it is our number one priority for us. So before introducing any service, on our platform, we take all the measurement. There are international certificates like ISO. There are a number of levels, and we do that frequently. We test our platform, we test our applications, we comply with the PCI, the SS, that's a security as well certificate. So we aim to be secured in order to make the people comfortable in using the services. And obviously you have to keep changing, and you have to keep your eye open, because always whenever you have a certain management, then there are other
updates from the other side.
So we keep updating our infrastructure, and no compromise, Sarah, on the security. This is something that we aim, and we don't hesitate, even in terms of our budget and spending on the on this aspect.
Yes. Well, Benefit Credit Report is a new provided service also that allows both individuals and companies to have a summary of their credit information and for financial obligations. You mentioned it before, but in depth, can you tell us more about it?
Yeah. This is a very interesting service. I mean, Bahrain Credit Reference Bureau, it has, it works under certain laws.
Yeah.
Okay, and the Central Bank of Bahrain, they set the rules, the controls, and the conditions and the functions of the service.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it is, as you mentioned, that it serves both the individuals and the corporates. Okay. The whole idea of that is, to again to help the institutions, to make better decisions, to help with them, to have an information that they can depend on and make a good decision.
Yeah.
In fact, when we started this, maybe it's worth to mention that when we started the service initially, and obviously we started with the central bank in coordination with the central bank, and we receive the data from the banks, and we manipulate them, okay, and we prepare them, we put them in a way so they are so simple, so the users in the bank they can use it and to make a decision.
Like categories.
Yes. Initially, in fact, Sarah, it was like many data, they were like there was a lot of errors.
Yeah.
So we're talking about 40% more or less. So just imagine if you're a person that you took a loan long time ago, and your loan is settled, and already you forgot about it, but in the system is still there.
It's still paying. Yeah.
So indirectly, the Bahrain Credit Services Bureau worked on correcting that data and cleansing the data. And I said that when we started it was like 40%, and today in terms of the error, and today we're talking about less than 1% or
That's
maybe
amazing.
0%.
Because it's an actual problem.
In terms of the thresholds.
Yes.
And very important that also maybe that I can use this opportunity to speak about that. Benefit, it's only a facilitator. Okay, it never interfere in any decision-making process. It's the banks or the company that provide the credit facilities. They do the decisions.
Yeah.
We are just in the middle, and we provide the information. And the information, by the way, it's only related to the loans.
Yes.
Okay, to the loans and the credit history, and whether you have settled it completely or not. So it's a certain information that only related to the credit.
Yes.
Nothing more than that.
Yes. The demography of Bahrain is diverse, as I mentioned before, and a lot of people also give their suggestions and their comments. Are these taken into consideration when working on new applications that might benefit the country?
Yes, in fact, nowadays, the social media and the Instagrams, they are the
exactly the commentary.
The commentary now. We keep encouraging the customers, to give us a feedback. And by the way, in Benefit Pay, there are a number of features they've been added, on the application because of the customer feedback and because of the customer input. That's like the split payment, like request for payment.
Yes.
Okay, and we are also there are other services coming soon, on board. So the customer input and customer feedback, they are very, very important to us. I mean, you have to do something that to serve the society. And the people of your country.
That's amazing. I mean, having a company that actually listens to their customers, because they are the ones using it, so they know how best to facilitate their own requirements. Now, how are you positioning Benefit as a key player for the business and its advantages to Bahrain's economy in the future?
The way we position ourselves, or I would say, the Benefit Company. So the Benefit Company, it is the infrastructure of the electronic payment of the country. And this is the way we look at Benefit, okay? Because you have a solid platform that has number of services on the top of them. And those services all are national services.
Right.
Okay, and we always work, towards, the government direction where, we try to be within the line, with the digital economy, in terms of, I would say, digital transformation, and focus on the fintech, and focus on the electronic payment. We worked, in fact, we worked a lot with the central bank and IGA.
Yes.
And we are still working, so, and by the way, this is a good example, in terms of the collaboration between private sector and private and public sectors, in order to achieve towards the digital economy. So there are a lot of initiatives that we work together, and because of this kind of cohesive, and because of this relationship, you see the projects are successful.
Yes. Now, when it comes to digitalization, it wasn't only the banking system or the financial system, it was also a lot of public sectors like University of Bahrain payments, all of these kind of things. And now recently with the COVID-19 pandemic, even more things came online. There was an announcement recently by the Minister of Industry about Mall.bh, which is going to facilitate the connection between the consumer and the merchants that are not big companies who already have their website, but basically local companies. How does benefit come into this picture?
And that gives the opportunity, for all those who doesn't have any sort of the online or website, especially the small to medium.
Exactly.
We are already there, by the way, Sarah, and many institutions, they use our payment gateway, for the online payment and online money transfer. However, again, there's an opportunity for benefit even to enhance, the electronic services, especially to do with the benefit pay, for Fawatir and for the Fawri, and even using the QR on a point of sale.
Right.
So it's called I think Mall.bh, and it is a big opportunity. I think that we together, we should complement these services and help those merchants and help the customers to use the electronic means, and in order to make their own purchases without any delay and without any worries. I mean, although the shops is physically closed, but electronic is open.
Yes.
So business as usual.
Perfect. Modern means of social media facilitated direct communication with target audience, as we mentioned. You mentioned that it uses the commentary from the audience in order to improve the services. Now, there are like services that come from the company's point of view, not the individuals. How is that information translated into bettering a certain application or a certain service that you provide?
You mean how we get the input from the
organizations or banks, not just merchants, but actual financial houses.
And Sarah, we are, by the way, we work very closely with the banks. And the banks, they are our shareholders. Although 13 of them they are shareholders, but most of them, in fact, all of them, they are members in our services. Like we have 24 banks on the ATM switch. We have 28 on the BCTS, and more than around 35 financial institutions. They are members, in the Bahrain Credit Reference Bureau, and with the non-financial, you're talking about 45. So we work very closely. We have an excellent relationship with the banks, and we always listen to them. And whenever there's a project, by the way, we do it in a committee. And we exchange the ideas. So we don't do it just, benefit, they do it ourselves. No, whatever service you see, it's all based on, by the way, it was a collective group that consists of benefits and from the regulator, and even sometimes from ADB, as well as, the banks. So we listen to them, and in fact, I thank to them, and they have a lot of contributions, that they, guide us and they encourage us, to go and introduce certain services that will help the community as a whole.
Typically, when you make a new service, what is the beta time frame that you guys apply before you either make the service available or remove it because it wasn't so available?
In fact, the beta, it depends. Now, as we speak, I mentioned about the fuel. Okay, now it started this week as a pilot. So we're talking about maybe like 1 week to 2 weeks, depending on the issues that we get. So more or less, you're talking about 10 days to 2 weeks. This is where we need to make sure that everything is perfect and is good. Now, for the fuel, for example, we put like 10 days, a period where we are having like 60 people. They're going to use this, and hopefully everything will be smooth, and then we'll go live.
That's great. I mean, that even shows that it's only a short amount of time before you perfect a certain service to be able to be available to the public, right?
I mean, when I say 2 weeks, but don't forget the amount of time
before that.
It's because we make sure that we look at all measurement, and the moment we reach to a stage where we're going to have a pilot or a beta, then as if we feel like as if we are ready to go live.
Right.
But there's a lot of work, you know, it goes in the
Exactly.
background.
So even the beta version is well thought through and very secure for people to
Absolutely,
use.
absolutely.
Well, we've come to the end of our show. Thank you very much for being with us. But before you leave, now at these difficult times of the COVID-19 pandemic and the whole country basically holding together, a last word from you about the future of Benefit Company as well as what to do nowadays, like a word from you.
Yeah, you know what, first of all, and thank you for again giving me this opportunity. I think people, they should move on with the you know, with their life. Okay, no physical contact and no physical shops, but I think the future is more towards the online, the e-commerce, and the electronic payments. And I encourage honestly the institutions and the individuals, you know, to keep on and using these applications, and even by the way, in the for the smaller shops, and even for the Instagrammers. And we have a lot of people that they work from home, and they use the electronic means, by the way, for their payment, for the money transfer. So I think that will be the focus, at least for the next few years.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And thank you, dear viewers, for watching us in this episode of Inside Edition. And wait for us next week for another one.